I thought Christmas was canceled because my parents were struggling financially. At least that was the story they told me. They said money was tight, gifts were impossible, and even a simple family dinner was something we could not afford. So I spent Christmas Eve alone, eating leftovers while scrolling through my sister's live stream. Then I saw something that made my heart stop. My entire family was gathered together at a huge Christmas party, laughing, opening gifts, and celebrating without me. But what hurt the most was not being excluded. It was discovering why they lied. And the truth would change everything. My name is Emily Carter. I'm 29 years old, and I work as a marketing designer in Portland, Oregon. For most of my life, Christmas was the one time of year when I believed my family was truly close. No matter how busy we became, December always brought us together. My parents decorated the house, my sister Lily and I exchanged gifts, and we spent evenings watching old holiday movies while drinking hot chocolate. At least, that was the version of my family I wanted to believe in. As I got older, I started noticing small things. My parents seemed to celebrate Lily's achievements more than mine. They always found a reason to make her feel special, while I learned to quietly accept being the one who adjusted. Still, I never thought they would intentionally hurt me. That changed 2 weeks before Christmas. My mother called me one evening with a tired voice and told me they were having financial problems. She said the business had a difficult year, bills had piled up, and they simply could not afford Christmas anymore. No big dinner. No gifts. Nothing extra this year, she said. I immediately felt guilty for even expecting anything. I told her I understood and that they should not worry about me. I said Christmas was not about presents anyway. So I canceled my plans, saved money, and decided to spend the holiday quietly at home. On Christmas Eve, I sat alone at my kitchen table eating leftovers from the previous week. I tried convincing myself that this was what adulthood looked like. Then my phone buzzed. It was my sister Lily's live stream notification. And the moment I opened it, my entire world changed. For a few seconds, I just stared at my phone screen, convinced I was seeing something wrong. The live stream loaded, and there was my sister Lily standing in the middle of a beautifully decorated living room. Behind her was a huge Christmas tree covered in expensive ornaments, flashing lights, and wrapped presents stacked almost to the ceiling. At first, I smiled. I thought maybe this was an old video. Maybe she had posted something from another year. Maybe there was some explanation I did not understand. Then I saw my parents. My mother was sitting on the couch, laughing with relatives. My father was opening a gift while everyone around him cheered. The same people who had told me they could not afford a simple Christmas dinner were surrounded by decorations, food, and expensive-looking presents. My heart sank. I watched silently as Lily walked around the room showing everyone their gifts. New electronics, designer bags, a huge dinner spread covering the table. The worst part was not the money. It was the fact that they were happy. They were not struggling. They were not sitting at home worried about bills. They were celebrating the exact holiday they told me was impossible. I felt a strange emptiness in my chest. I kept replaying my mother's words from 2 weeks earlier. We just can't afford it this year. I had believed her. I had defended her. I had even felt bad for wanting to spend time with them. But now I was watching proof that the Christmas they canceled was not canceled at all. It was canceled for me. I wanted to call immediately. I wanted answers. But something inside me stopped. Before I confronted them, I needed to understand why my own family had chosen to leave me out. I spent that entire night trying to convince myself there had to be a reasonable explanation. Maybe my parents forgot to mention the party. Maybe Lily planned something separately. Maybe there was some misunderstanding that would make everything make sense. But deep down, I already knew. People do not accidentally hide an entire Christmas celebration from someone. The next morning, I started looking through Lily's social media posts. I was not trying to invade her privacy. I just needed to understand what had happened. That was when I noticed something that made my stomach turn. The party was not last minute. The decorations had been ordered weeks before Christmas. The gifts sitting under the tree were clearly planned purchases. Family members had been posting pictures and talking about the event days before it happened. My parents had known. They had planned everything. They did not suddenly become too broke for Christmas. They simply decided I was not part of their Christmas. Then I found something even more painful. A comment from one of my relatives said, "Too bad Emily couldn't make it this year." My mother had replied, "She's been busy and wanted to do her own thing." I stared at those words for several minutes. They were telling people I chose not to come. They made it look like I was the one who walked away from my family. That hurt more than missing the party itself. Because this was not just about Christmas anymore. It was about the years I spent trying to be a good daughter, trying to show up, trying to prove I mattered. And somehow, they still found it easier to erase me than tell the truth. For the first time, I stopped asking myself what I had done wrong. Instead, I started asking a different question. Why had they never valued me the way I valued them? I waited 3 days before calling my mother. Not because I was afraid of her, but because I wanted to make sure I was not calling from a place of anger. I did not want to fight. I wanted the truth. When she answered, her voice sounded completely normal. "Emily, how are you?" she asked. That simple question almost hurt more than anything else, because she was acting like nothing had happened. I took a deep breath and asked, "Mom, why did you tell me Christmas was canceled?" There was a pause. A long one. Then she said, "What do you mean?" I opened Lily's live stream on my computer and told her exactly what I saw. The decorations, the gifts, the family dinner, everything. For a moment, she said nothing. Then she sighed and said, "Emily, you're making this bigger than it is. It wasn't supposed to be a big deal." I felt my chest tighten. "It wasn't a big deal that you lied to me?" I asked. She explained that they thought I would understand. She said they wanted a smaller gathering and believed I might feel uncomfortable around everyone. But that was not the truth. The truth was they never invited me. When my father joined the call, he said, "You're almost 30. You should not be upset over one Christmas." I looked at my phone and realized something important. They were not apologizing. They were defending themselves. I told them the problem was not missing a party. The problem was that they made me feel unwanted and then pretended it was my fault. For years, I had tried to earn a place in my own family. But that conversation made me realize I was the only one fighting for it. And I was tired of fighting alone. For the first time in my life, I stopped chasing my parents for their attention. I did not send angry messages. I did not demand an apology. I simply stepped back. For a while, there was silence. I thought maybe they finally understood how much they had hurt me. Maybe they were reflecting on their choices. Maybe they realized that pushing away their own daughter had consequences. But I was wrong. About a month later, my phone rang. It was my mother. I almost ignored the call, but something made me answer. Her voice was softer than usual. "Emily, I need to talk to you about something." Immediately, I knew something was wrong. She told me things had become difficult. Bills were piling up, money was tight, and they were struggling to cover their rent. Then she said the words I never expected to hear. "We need about $2,000. Could you help us?" For a moment, I just sat there quietly, not because I did not have the money, but because I remembered Christmas. I remembered sitting alone while they celebrated without me. I remembered watching them smile on that live stream. I asked her one simple question. "Mom, why are you coming to me now?" She sounded confused. "Because you're our daughter. Family helps family." Those words hurt because they were the same words I had always wanted to hear when I needed them. I told her family also tells the truth. Family does not make someone feel unwanted and then expect them to rescue them when things become difficult. She became angry and said I was being selfish. But for the first time, I did not feel guilty. I calmly told her I would not send the money. And after I ended the call, I realized something important. I was no longer the daughter begging to be chosen. I was the woman choosing herself. After I refused to send my parents the money, I expected them to be angry with me. What I did not expect was for the truth to finally come out. A few weeks later, I received a message from my cousin Rachel. She said she needed to talk to me about something important. When we spoke, she sounded uncomfortable. "Emily, I owe you an apology," she said. I asked her what she meant. She explained that after Christmas, she started questioning what really happened. She had seen my parents telling relatives that I was too busy and had chosen not to attend the celebration. But then she heard a different version from Lily. Apparently, Lily had admitted that my parents specifically told her not to invite me because they wanted a smaller family gathering. Those words confirmed everything. I had not been forgotten. I had been removed. Once Rachel knew the truth, she started asking other family members questions. Slowly, the story my parents had created began falling apart. Relatives who believed I had abandoned the family realized they had only heard one side. Some apologized. Some admitted they had noticed for years that my parents treated Lily differently, but they never wanted to get involved. The most surprising message came from Lily herself. She admitted she knew I had been left out and said she regretted staying quiet. I appreciated her honesty, but I also realized something. An apology could not erase the years of feeling invisible. For so long, I had believed I needed my family to finally choose me. But standing there, watching the truth unfold, I understood something much more important. I did not need their approval to know my worth. I had already built a life where I was valued, respected, and loved. Months later, I looked back at that Christmas and realized it had changed my life in a way I never expected. At the time, I thought my parents had taken something away from me. They had taken away a holiday, a family tradition, and another chance to feel included. But now I see it differently. That Christmas showed me the truth. It showed me that love is not proven by sharing the same last name. It is proven by the way people treat you when nobody is watching. I stopped waiting for my parents to become the people I needed them to be. I stopped hoping for the perfect apology. I stopped wondering what I could have done differently. Instead, I started creating my own traditions with people who made me feel wanted. I spent holidays with friends who became like family. I surrounded myself with people who did not make me question my place in their lives. The hardest lesson I learned was that sometimes the people you are related to are not the people who truly support you. And sometimes losing their approval is the first step toward finding your own peace. That Christmas was not the day my family ended. It was the day I finally stopped begging for a seat at a table where I was never truly welcomed. Because real family does not make you feel chosen only when they need something from you. Real family chooses you every single time.